Welcome to the best path forward. Today I'm joined by McKeon. Welcome, McKeon. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. It's good to be here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Top 5 experience of your life, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Well, I mean, it's just starting, right?
Oh, it's just starting. So you don't know yet.
I don't know yet. I'm hoping, though.
I'm hoping as well. Well, once again, thank you for being here. So, first questions first. What's your story?
What's my story? Let's see. Short answer, I would say figuring out who I am.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. So, what made you kind of decide you need to figure out who you are?
Figuring out that despite the fact that I was comfortable, wondering if things could be better, and that led to me figuring out more of what I wanted, and knowing what I want, that means that I have to put in more work, more changes, and more sacrifice. So I need to keep putting forth those sacrifices, those changes, and putting work into what I want most. And along the way, I'm still figuring out new things about myself.
I like that word sacrifice. I think a lot of people want to get something for nothing, but they aren't willing to put in the work to do that something to get something. And so it's like, oh, I want to have everything, you know? People are like, oh, I want $1 million. But then again, they don't want to put in the work to get to $1 million. So what does sacrifice mean to you?
What does sacrifice mean to me? Sacrifice means giving up something that I want and or need to get something that is of more or higher value to me.
I hear you there. I'm thinking about some of the people that we see every day because we're both morning gym people. It's like, well, how do you get up so early to do that? It's like I sacrifice a little bit of my social life at night, especially throughout the week, because you can't go out to the bars, stay up until 10, 11, midnight, and expect to get up at 4, 5, 6 a.m. and get to the gym. So that's just one aspect of sacrifice. It's like, hey, I'm sacrificing a little bit of my social life at a certain time of the day because it's not the whole social life. It's just a little aspect of it so I can have this bigger benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so how do you apply sacrifice?
For the sacrifice, I'm going to use that example from the gym because, yeah, I am sacrificing a lot of things that I could be doing in the evening or at nighttime. I know that the bar scene, the party scene is always going to be there, but my youth is not, and I really want to get a head start on my body, getting a bigger body, building my muscles, and really getting those newbie gains as I'm starting my gym journey, but sacrificing not only certain experiences and fun from time to time, sacrificing relaxation too. And what I mean by that is like sleeping in or some self-care time that maybe I don't have time for within that week, and only doing self-care like when I need it, or lounging around relaxing when I absolutely need to, rather than doing it every single morning and doom scrolling and wasting that time on my phone when I could just be waking up without hitting snooze and hitting the gym, actually getting something out of it.
My gosh, doom scrolling. That is a term that I hear so often, and I find myself doing it sometimes, to be honest with you. So when I find myself doom scrolling, it's like, oh, let me stop doing that. So just what is your definition of doom scrolling? Is it like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or is it just kind of like the time frame that you spend doing it? So I guess how do you describe and define doom scrolling?
I would say that when it's wasting time. So what I mean by that is if I'm scrolling through social media and I'm completely fine, maybe I have like 10 minutes where I'm in a break room and I can't do anything. You know, if I'm waiting at the doctor's office and there's only magazines around and I can access social media, that's fine. When I have things to do and I'm putting them off to take in this useless information or all this content, that doesn't help me out. Something that did help me though was changing my algorithm. So what I do for my algorithm is like and send out the positive gym or life motivation reels to other people. And those aren't as addictive. When you're looking at them, you're like, okay, well, this isn't anything new. It's very, very encouraging, motivating. It helps me out when I'm going to the gym. But other than that, I don't want to keep scrolling to look for new content because I feel motivated, and they're the ones that are pushing me to get up and stop scrolling.
It's so funny that you say that the algorithm. People always say, man, my Instagram page algorithm is just filled with this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, that's because you put it in there. It's not by an accident that your algorithm is putting in there. Like, it's showing you exactly what you put in. If you search for certain things all the time, that's what you're going to get, those certain things and certain results. And another thing that you said that I really liked is the fact that you treat doom scrolling or even type of social media activity as a treat. And so treats are like cookies and brownies, just like in your body. If you eat cookies and brownies all the time, you're probably not going to have the most healthy output. Your body's going to feel sluggish because you're not giving it the nutrients that it needs. That's the same thing with your mind. If you're always feeding it treats, it's going to get sluggish. And so I really like the way you put that.
Yeah, with the doom scrolling, I definitely feel myself. I don't know. It's just a lot of it is garbage to me, and I have an interest in these where I think I don't know when the term was created. I assume that it was created sometime when people started realizing that social media was a problem and this continuous scrolling. I know that I've heard the term used more and more this year. That's when I figured out that it was a thing.
Yeah.
I know it's been around for a little bit longer because there's been more times that I've been on Instagram, but there's certain videos on algorithms that just show up randomly where they almost play into the doom scrolling. Have you seen these before?
I have not. Yeah, tell me what this is about.
Okay, so I came across this one the other day, and I was just, I was laying in bed watching, scrolling through Instagram in the morning, wasting my life away, and I'm like, this looks really cool. So I scroll up, and it's lava about to be poured over eggs, and I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? That's interesting. Then it cuts to black.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's text that shows up on the screen before the lava hits the eggs. It ruins it, but it's like, what are you doing with your life? And then it has all that, and then it has like some cloud in the background, and then it just tells you like, get up, go do it.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh shoot, well, there it is. It's like that little checkpoint where it's like, stop scrolling. It's that message to you. And it's still a part of social media, but it doesn't make you want to scroll more. It makes you want to get up, and it makes you want to do the thing.
I think I like that when you said checkpoint. I think it's the same thing as snapping yourself off of autopilot.
Yeah.
Because on doom scrolling, you're just sitting there scrolling. And next thing you know, there's a timer that goes off with lifetime. It's like, oh, I just spent an hour and a half doing that. And the biggest, I guess, victim of doom scrolling? Sleep. Because people will say, you know what, I can't get enough sleep. I go to bed at 8. And I need to get up earlier. I'm like, you go to bed at 8, but what time do you actually fall asleep? It's like, well, my phone is there, and next thing you know, I'm doom scrolling, and it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they spent 3 hours just on their phone, plugged in so their phone's not dying, and these social media apps are incentivized to let people just go endlessly. So I kind of like the way you said that, like had this break in it, take you off of autopilot. It's like, hey, what are you doing with your life? So I think that's fantastic stuff. So you mentioned that sometimes you will find yourself kind of looking through social media if you're working in the lab and kind of waiting for results. Do you do lab work?
Yes, I do lab work. So I work in a medical microbiology lab. We handle any specimens that are sent in through people that work in clinics, nurses, doctors. They send in urine samples, blood samples. I work with tuberculosis or anything with viruses or bacteria in it. We take those samples, plate them, look at them, and the colonies that grow, we identify those certain bacteria or organisms. Then we set up suspensions, test tubes, and we'll put them in certain machines or look at them through certain devices, and it will tell us exactly what drugs those organisms are susceptible to. We type and or print those out and then send them to the doctor. So the doctor knows exactly how much of a concentration of ceftriaxone or meropenem that the patient needs to cure the infection.
Oh, hold on. So you can give it down. So your job is responsible for letting, I guess, medical professionals know, like, hey, this amount of concentration will destroy this bacteria or virus.
Yes.
I assume there's a risk of giving too much medication at one time. I'm not smart at all, so I know, please treat me like an idiot. So there's a risk for giving too much drugs, right?
Yes, depending on the patient. And then also it costs more money, right?
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons that we need to be very detailed when we carry out our work and make sure that everything is done properly. There are certain things that if sensitivities seem too high or unrealistic, we'll repeat them again. And we want to make sure that we're getting out the most accurate results to the doctor and to the patient, because again, that could hurt somebody if they take too high of a concentration of a drug, could cost them more money if they need more drugs.
Yeah.
Or it could come back as the drug doesn't work if we did it wrong. Then that cuts their options and they have to go to a more risky or expensive drug. Then anything could come back to us if it was a problem for the patient. Like say there was somebody that was of older age and had this infection, and we send out something but do it improperly, and we were like, everything's resistant. Well, if everything truly is resistant in some patients, say within blood, patient normally dies because the bacteria are immune to everything. Most of the time we classify those as MDROs, multi-drug resistant organisms.
And they're gone.
And as far as I know, I don't really keep in touch with the doctor to see what happens to the patient, but from what I hear from other people that have been in the field for many, many years, yes, the patient normally dies when everything is resistant, unless there's some other way or different type of experimental drug that they'll be using on them.
That is the wildest thing I've ever heard in my life. Of all the things you said, that acronym is going to stick with me. MDRO.
Multi-drug resistant organism.
That is wild. So, McKeon, how did you get into looking at the viruses that could kill us through I assume, a very expensive but yet tiny microscope?
I would say that started in, that would probably be before high school. That would be growing up. Maybe 6 or 7, whenever I started watching National Geographic, TV consumed my life. Just like doom scrolling, there was just flipping through channels.
Let's go.
And I found Discovery Channel, Nat Geo, anything that was educational I really, really liked, aside from all the cartoons that I'd be watching on Saturdays. But watching certain things that were based off of like microbiomes, parasites like Monsters Inside Me, any sort of documentaries that would feature animals. I really liked the sciences, so that sparked a passion for me to apply myself a little bit more in my microbiology and or animal biology classes in high school. And as I did those and I went to college and I was undecided, I'm like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And I'm like, academic wise, science has always been my strongest and favorite subject. So I went into it, had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what to expect. I'd never in a million years would have thought that I would have been working in a laboratory and trying to pursue higher education, getting my PhD. But here I am looking at bacteria through a microscope and doing susceptibility testing.
Dude, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. So as you're flipping through watching things like, you said Monsters Inside Me?
Monsters Inside Me.
That is a terrifying title.
Yeah.
I assume this is about the bacteria that we have inside of us that are just waiting to kill us.
Those ones were specifically parasites, if I remember it right.
Okay. So I don't have one current, like, because you hear about stuff like good bacteria and bad bacteria.
Yeah,
I don't have a monster inside me type of thing inside me now. Like, do you?
Well, do you like raw meat? Do you ever eat your steaks medium rare? Or do you like raw fish? Sushi?
Medium rare steaks are delicious.
Okay. Sushi?
You're pausing as it. Hold on, let's go back to the steaks here.
Yeah.
Is that a problem to eat medium rare steaks like that? Well, no, actually, I don't want to know.
Okay.
Ignorance is bliss. But if I have a parasite, I want to find it and send you a sample of it to analyze.
Only if it's bad.
Only if it's bad.
Yep.
And then you give me things that will help kill it.
Yes.
I like it. I think that's a great path going forward.
Yeah.
So you got all this interest as you're flipping through channels, finding shows like Monsters Inside Me, which is a fascinating but yet insightful title. I was watching like Pokemon and anime and stuff, and you were out there finding your future.
Yeah, and it really helped me in my classes too. It would be a lot of fun because I'd be taking like animal bio, animal diversity classes, and they'd have these certain questions or exam concepts of like why this animal does this thing or evolutionary, how does this work? I didn't even need to study. I knew everything from watching those documentaries.
So National Geographic is essentially the reason why you are where you are in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that is fantastic, and I'm sure National Geographic will appreciate it. Do you know if Monsters Inside Me, as you can tell, I'm really interested in this show. Is that still on the air?
No, I'm sure that it's not still on the air because that was high school that I was watching it, so it's been a while. But I'm sure that it's available to stream it, somewhere.
I mean, between all the streaming networks that are available to us, ideally I'll find it. Yeah, and I'm scared to find it, but once I do, you'll be getting a text from me like, McKeon, I found something. I'm a little nervous about it. So thank you for sharing your background with us. I really appreciate it. So in preparation for today's podcast, you had a simple job. Do you recall what that job was?
The simple job was taking 2 dates past November 2023, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you came up with a date. What date did you come up with?
Those ones I will have to check back. Do you have them written?
Oh, I have it ready for it.
All right, let's go.
See, I was prepared for this moment just in case. So I believe the date that we chose was December 28th, 2024.
Yep.
All right, so why the end of the year? So in the in-between between Christmas time and New Year's.
Yep.
So why that date?
That date specifically is significant to me because that is the date that I have or had scheduled to take the GRE, which is needed to get into grad school, which I need
Ah.
to raise my education level, eventually earn my PhD, and start earning more money and being able to own my own research lab and conduct my own research.
All right, so you took the GRE after Christmas before New Year's.
Mhm.
So how was it studying for all that?
Honestly, it was a lot of replacing just any time where I would be doing that Instagram scrolling with flashcards specifically for the vocabulary section. And I set aside a lot of time and did the gym in the afternoon, waking up early in the mornings, 4:30, 5 a.m., and studying for a couple of hours, just separating that like block of time to be able to study the higher or tougher concepts like math or the writing section. Eventually, I got the score that I wanted. I was super happy with it.
There we go.
And it's led to
Congrats.
me getting multiple acceptances into schools.
So it sounds like you're on a path for a fantastic program in the future.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I chose that date because it was just a major stepping stone on my journey, and I wouldn't have been able to get into these programs that I am choosing in between choosing right now if it was not for that date.
Well, sir, that is fantastic. And once again, impressive individual. A guy who was starting the weightlifting journey on top of just being someone that grew up with National Geographic and then became someone that looks at MDROs. O's, right?
Yes.
Told you that's going to stick
MDROs.
with me. That's going to stick with me. All right. So once again, you chose December 28th, 2024. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So what I'll have you do is I'll just have you kind of read to yourself what this bike brain entry is, and I'll just
Okay.
kind of explain to everyone what the bike brain entries are. If that's all
Yeah.
right with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, here you go. So bike brain entries are essentially the way I try to process the world. I aim to do them between 5 and 6 times a week, and each one has an attribute of either mind, body, spirit, or if all three of mind, body, and spirit are impacted in a single entry, it is known as inosala, which is all as one backwards, as that entry is considering all the factors of mind, body, and spirit. And so mine is about having the proper mental energy allocation where you go into the different rooms, be it your work room, your workout room, the research room, wherever you're spending that mental energy allocation. Body is about having a 360 holistic approach to your body. It's more than just the food that you eat or the amount of hours that you lift or run or bike. It's also about how much sleep you're getting, what your stress levels are, your anxiety, and also how the environment around you, being friends that encourage you or discourage you, kind of impact your overall mood. And spirit is about diving in and reaching out. And diving in is about finding out your own code of conduct and the rules that you live by. Sometimes you have to reframe them and reshape them as you grow and learn, but what your code of conduct is, that's diving in. And reaching out is about reaching out to others because we have to realize that we have an impact on the world around us, whether we see it or not, and we cannot do this alone. So McKeon, you had a chance to read that?
Yes, I did.
All right, so what I'll do here is I'll just read it out loud for everyone, and then we can talk about it if that's all right with you.
All right.
So once again, this bike brain entry is from December 28th, 2024. It is an inosala entry, and the title of it is Your Path to 10. The price of greatness is responsibility, Winston Churchill. At your default, you have to come to a head with the truth about your mind, body, and spirit in relation to someone else. No, you don't allocate mental energy as well as someone else. No, you don't have the same body as someone else. No, you don't have the same code etched into your spirit as someone else. But who cares about the cards you start with? Imagine you had to get to 10. You're dealt a certain hand at birth. Regardless of where you start, your path is your own responsibility. You're not ahead, you're not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. The only thing that remains to be seen is what you do with your place. And there's only two options. The first, lament over the low cards given. Or the second, play the hand your way to get to 10. You want to be great? So does everyone else. But to get there, you have to take responsibility and use the cards you've been given to get there. So McKeon, when I think about that, I remember back in the day, and even sometimes now, I like to engage in self-pity. Because I'm like, man, if I only had entered X. And the funny thing about X, as any variable, it always changes. And so instead of looking at what you don't have, I had to really refocus and focus on things that I do have. A lot of people will just kind of wait and see for some type of X event to happen. The thing is, though, we are all dealt a certain hand of cards in life. Some people are dealt an 8 and a 2. It's a lot easier to get to 10. Some people are dealt 3s. Some people are dealt 4s. But guess what? No matter what you're dealt with, you can always get to 10. If 10 is a goal, no matter what card you're dealt with, chances are you can get to that 10. So instead of kind of just sitting around and moping and lamenting that you don't have the quote-unquote right cards, you have the cards exactly that you need to get there. And so I think it's important for us to remember that, no, you don't have everything that you need right now. And especially when starting out, you're not going to be the best. You're not going to be the best thinker. You're not going to be the best lifter. In fact, your code of conduct for doing those things, you're going to fall short sometimes, but you have to keep going. The last thing you could do is really just kind of step back and just sit on your laurels and expect things to change, because it's just not going to happen. So, McKeon, what did you think?
So, I've never read that quote before, and I think it really resonates with me, because that's one of the reasons that I started making a lot of productive life changes, because I have not always been as efficient and as task motivated as I am now. There were times where I would spend days on end ignoring things, procrastinating, playing video games. I wouldn't see sunlight for days, and that's just how I liked it. But there are certain times, even now, where I see something and I'm like, man, I wish I had that, or I'm not happy with this. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I'm not really happy with the hand that I was dealt, But then I start thinking, I'm like, it was the one that I was dealt, and I don't want to stop playing the game.
Yes.
So I have those two options, just like you were saying.
I love that quote. It was the one that I was dealt,
Yeah.
and I don't want to stop playing the game. It's so true. I think a lot of people will kind of have a failure to start in general. It's like, oh, I don't have that, so I'm never going to try to do anything. And they never put themselves in the game.
Yeah.
They're afraid of losing, and which is huge, right? But guess what? Even the most gifted people in each of the mind, body, and spirit attributes, they've had setbacks, because I don't think it's about the setback. It's about what you learn from the setback.
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't enjoy failure, but I kind of like learning the lessons from it. If I remember people like, oh, I love failure. I'm not one of those people. Like, failure is like,
Yes.
okay, that happened.
Yeah.
That kind of sucked. It does not feel great. But what can we learn from this going forward? And so you can kind of take those lessons from failure. And one of my favorite things is the whole after action report. It's like, okay, this happened. What went well here? What didn't go so well? What can we do to improve to get better in the future? So I think in spite of that, it's like, all right, so the 4 on my path to 10, the card 4 didn't play the way I expected it to. It's like, well, why didn't it? How can I put myself in a better environment for that 4 to play it to its full potential to help me get to that path to 10? So I agree with you there. It's like, let's not wait to start.
Yeah.
I want to stay in the game. And so by staying in the game, you have to actually play the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they'll look at their hand like, fold. And what does that mean to fold in life?
Just give up.
Just give up. And we're not doing that. And someone of your background definitely understands that no matter what you're given, sometimes you have to play to get there. Yeah, so thank you for kind of sharing with that, McKeon. I appreciate you. So what do you have to share with us today? What tool do you use to kind of find the best path forward in your life?
The tools that I use to find the best path forward in my life, these have been things that have been very helpful to me. And
all right, now let me get a pen and paper. Let's go.
That's exactly what I'm going to say. Pen and paper, a list. Lists are extremely important and effective for me achieving my daily goals, my monthly goals, my yearly goals, and lifetime goals. They are super important and helpful, but one piece of advice that I would give to anybody that's struggling with starting anything is just doing the thing. That's something that has significantly helped me, even with the overwhelming tasks that I have, even if they're organized and they're in a list. Thinking about doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Talking about doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing down doing the thing isn't doing the thing. The only thing that's doing the thing is doing the thing.
What if I post it on social media that I'm going to do the thing?
Well, there's a lot more pressure, but you can post all day, but that doesn't get you the results that you want to see.
All right, so posting on social media enough is not, or like in itself is not enough to get you to where you want to go.
Unless you just want to gain a following on social media.
I hear you there. I like what you just said there. So you kind of have this overarching thing of making a list.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have daily list, You have yearly list and then lifetime list. And that's all, or those goals are just separate lists?
So I have it's just called the to-do list.
The to-do
And
list.
I organize it through Google Keep. It allows me to make different categories and subcategories within those, and then also allows me to slide around and move everything around with what I need to do. I can set certain timers on those things that I need to do, which is super helpful. But with the daily lists, it really comes from my list of yearly/monthly goals. They all accumulate into one little box. And I start my day, whether I wake up or I'm at the gym and I'm in between sets, I slide up a couple of things that I know I need to do this month. And I make sure that I make it a priority to get those done within the day. If I don't, I take them on tomorrow.
I think that's fantastic. So you don't have the pressure just kind of having everything done all at once.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic because you're not like, oh, if I didn't get this done today, the whole year is shot. You find a lot with New Year's resolutions. A couple of weeks in, people are like, oh, I didn't hit my goals in the first 2 weeks of the year, so the whole year is shot. You don't take that approach. You're like, okay, I have this what I need to do for the whole year, and even down to the month. Like, let's just slide it up. If it happens today, cool. If it doesn't, that's still there. Slide it to the next day. You just don't give up on it.
And that has been a very powerful change in my mindset recently, especially with not getting something done in the day that I plan to do that day. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it done eventually. And even if it's not the best job, consistency is so important, and being able to bounce back and recover from those upsets in my day, because no day's perfect. You know, even today I expected to get out after 8 hours of work and I ended up putting 8.5 hours. Like, it happens.
It does. So let me ask you this. When you're having kind of a, like, I know myself, if I have a goal and I'm like, I'm going to hit this year, it kind of takes off the pressure a little bit. So how do you keep the pressure on?
I would call it meditation, my own form of meditation. Really, I have that list of goals. I also have a self-improvement list of just very broad concepts or things that I want to improve within my life. And I look at those occasionally. And it gives me a lot of inspiration and motivation to keep with my goals and thinking about it every single morning. Just like three things that I want to do, that I want to be better at. It helps keep them real. And that's really important to me, because if I just write them down once and I never look back at them again, I'm like, what am I even doing? What's the point? But then going back and looking at that physical note that I typed out to myself, I remember exactly how I felt in that moment, because when the motivation fades, I still have my discipline, and that's what keeps me going.
When motivation fades, you still have your discipline. I love that one. Where did that come? Is that you, a McKeon original?
That's me. I'm sure there's a lot of similar quotes, but I mean, that's what keeps me coming into the gym at 6 a.m. every day.
All right. I think that's a fantastic quote. I think a lot of people rely on motivation. Motivation I liken to lighter fluid. Like, it's good for a quick burst.
Yeah.
But sustainability is not necessarily its strong suit.
Absolutely.
So I kind of liked your idea of having the to-do list. And then you also mentioned that you have the meditation and then the self-improvement list. So for the self-improvement and meditation list, is that kind of like in conjunction with your yearly, monthly, and daily goals, or lifetime goals? Just make sure I'm clear. So lifetime goals, yearly goals, and then daily goals.
Yep. So I would say that the lifetime goals are more just concepts or things that I want to improve on. Also, I have a small bucket list, and those are just experiences, fun experiences that I want to do. But these motivational, or not motivational, personal growth, or the personal growth list is like, I need to, start broad, get out more, build my career, meet new people. Those are very broad things that you could break down into a bunch of different tiny boxes, and that's what I do within my like monthly or daily lists, where I say, like, okay, I want to meet new people. What do I do? So let's start going out to these places where people that like the things that I like frequent very often, and then I can throw that in my list of things to do, and I'll do that for fun. Or if I want to build my career, well, how am I going to build my career? I have my whole education that I'm trying to get, but then I need to make sure that I apply myself in my current job. I need to make sure that I, set aside some time for some extra tasks that earn me a little bit more money, so I have some funds to focus on everything else. Being able to separate those major self-improvement goals, again, building my career or meeting new people, and then turning them into actual ideas or making a list, so that I have at least something to follow. And there's always going to be upsets. There's always going to be, you know, bumps along the way. And that's where the mindset comes in that's so helpful, where it's like, c'est la vie, that's life.
Yes.
Oh, well, I didn't get it done, but it'll happen tomorrow. I'm going to stay consistent.
I think it's important to realize that there are going to be upsets. I love the idea of stoicism, and stoicism essentially is focusing on the things that you can control and letting go of the rest. If an upset happens, there's two things to realize. One, you can't go back in time, so kind of wasting that mental energy and trying to change that. I don't know. You work in labs. Can you go back in time yet?
Nope.
All right, so I want to make sure. I was like, I have a scientist here. Let me ask him. So it's been confirmed. We cannot go back in time yet. And the second thing is, like, chances are, even if you scream at that upset, it's not going to change it from happening. So it's like, how can we realize that the upset has happened, process it, acknowledge it, and then move on from that? And so how do you deal with upsets happening?
Taking some time to breathe. That's very important, because I can find myself getting very overwhelmed, and freaking out, going through things as fast as possible is not the way to go. Being able to, again, craft a plan. Being able to think, okay, what's the worst that can happen? What's best case scenario? What am I going to do if this or that happens? I'm a big believer in the plan. I think if you have a plan, you can pretty much get through anything. And that's where my lists come in, and they help me so much, and I would highly recommend them to anybody looking to start or get through any sort of task or objective.
All right, so say, for instance, lists are new. They're new to me.
Yeah.
So what, I guess, kind of like 3 or 4 pieces of advice would you have in kind of generating and crafting a list?
Let's see. Advice for crafting a list. I would say first thing would be to come up with exactly what you want to do. With me, I have these broad categories: work on my degree, or work on my career, which splits into a bunch of different side tasks, meet new people, get out more, and those are just 3 broad things that are like, okay, well, how am I going to do those? But knowing what's important to you and what you are willing to, going back to this, make sacrifices for, is a good starting point. For the actual list, I would say relying on something that, if your lists are changing, something electronic, so you are easily able to maneuver through what you want to do. I think Google Tasks and Keep are 2 really good options. Even your notepads, Apple Notes, anything like that. I used to keep physical lists and books, but that became a little bit overwhelming. Where if I would complete everything but 2 things on a page, and then I needed a new page, and then I'd have to write everything down on the other one. And it's a lot easier to be able to keep it in some sort of a drive or dock. So I would definitely say invest in something that you like the layout of, and put down those core concepts of things that are really important to you. For the third thing, this is something that you can learn along the way or look up online, but organization of the lists. Mine aren't necessarily very organized with my life, because I kind of just have a big box of stuff that's like, okay, these are my monthly goals, and I'll drag them up, because it's like a little slider, drag them up to my daily goals, do them. If I don't do them, put them down back at the monthly goals or the yearly goals. But when I do academics, I have certain things that are organized by how important they are, or what kind of a category they are, if I have any sort of flexibility, or if they apply to my life, because being able to separate work from life is also a very important skill that I learned in college, because I would have some things where like miscellaneous life tasks, and they're still important, but it's not necessarily my education, or vice versa.
I like that. Especially that third one. I kind of call those mental rooms. It's like, hey, if I'm in the mental room for work, I don't want to be focused on fun things, because me allocating my energy to that fun thing is not going to be productive for that work. So I kind of like the idea of you having the organization of separating things based on what you want, I guess, the main overarching objective to be for that certain part of the list. I think the list creation, what do you have? Do you have a name for this list creation tool?
No, maybe I should come up with one.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Got time. What you got?
Ooh, list creation.
Pressure is on.
List creation tool, or maybe a method. I don't know. I would just let's just call it a method.
McKeon method.
No, I was going to say the killing it method. My last.
Oh, let's go. Killing it method. So in that, we had 3 things. I just want to recap and make sure I got it right. Number 1, come up with what you want to do and what you're willing to make sacrifices for. Number 2, place the list in the real world. So be it either a physical journal or ideally some type of digital media where you can kind of carry it around with you and make adjustments as needed. And number 3, organize the list kind of based on the areas of your life and goals that they're impacting. I think those are great things.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Thank you.
The killing it method.
Killing it method.
That makes me very happy. All right, Mr. McKeon, any kind of final thoughts or words before we wrap this up for today?
Let's see. I think I got out most of what I wanted to say. Are we covering the second date that I chose, or was the first date significant
just the
enough?
first date. The second date before you come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I get you.
Yeah,
You know, kind of starting the podcast. It's like, oh, I need people to come on, right?
Yeah.
Tempt them with the second date. Sounds like you're ready to talk about the second date.
Yeah, it's still
and
got
we're
some
not doing that now. You're welcome. But thank you also.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I would just say consistency. Consistency is super important. If you want to win at this game, if you want to win at life, a winner is just a loser that tried one more time. It doesn't matter about how good you do if you just keep it up. And if you want something, I have known next to little to no people that have wanted something so badly and have not gotten it. Doesn't matter what it is. Keep going. Consistency.
You have to keep going. And one of my best friends is all about Kaizen, and Kaizen's a concept of consistent incremental progress.
Okay.
So you just got to keep going. Even if you don't recognize it from day 1 to day 2, something like a body progress photo, it's like you're not going to recognize much difference between day 1 and day 2.
Yeah.
If you look at day 1 versus day 40, if you kept working for it, that's when you start seeing the change. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
And it fires you up to keep going. So you're right. You just got to keep going.
Kaizen, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember that.
Heck yeah, man. All right, McKeon, I appreciate you being here, brother.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Thank you for having me. Until next.
Thank you for watching and listening to today's episode. Chances are you're looking to embark on your own personal development journey. I'm not going to lie to you. True personal development is hard, and it's supposed to be hard. That's because you're not only changing who you are, but how you operate. The aim of this podcast is to give you a community of people that are striving to do the same. So like and subscribe to the channel, but more importantly, comment below on how you plan on using today's tool to find your own best path forward. We'll see you next time.